Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about, I guess, politics yet again. They keep coming up in this feed when I'm not trying to talk politics here. But here at Financial Independence Firm, we're focused on truth and clarity. So there's been something that's been sitting on my heart for quite some time, and is getting to a point where I just have to say something because I talk to people for a living, and I just don't feel like I see anybody having the right conversations. So this is my outcry for those having the right conversations. But Trump posted a photo of himself as the Pope. As the Pope, out of all things. So for those of you who haven't seen the picture, here's the picture. So as you can see, that picture is, yeah, you can see it for yourself. Now, whether you love him or hate him, this isn't pro or hate him. It's really not even about Trump himself. It's just like how far we've drifted as a whole, as a nation. It's like we're starting to live in this world where truth just does not matter anymore. Facts get replaced by feelings. Well, I just believe becomes the new standard, even when your truth rejects reality. But what I need everybody to understand is that truth doesn't change. You can say you don't believe in gravity, but that's not going to stop you from falling. We need to all have that understanding and have to come and agree on some common ground, because there's no common ground anymore. Can we agree on that there is only one truth? I mean, man. So I really started thinking what happened to us, and looking at that photo. And I actually had a conversation this morning with a few people that I wasn't. All right, but back to the point. Okay, so back in 33 AD, that's when Christ died. And from that moment until 313 AD, if you chose to follow Jesus, and if you chose to follow the path that Jesus taught and lived, you were risking your life. They were beheaded. That's John the Baptist. Crucified. I believe that's Paul. Stoned. That was Stephen. That's all in the Bible. And if that's not enough, I actually just posted this on my Facebook about William Tyndale. If Bible isn't enough for you, even though all of that has been historically verified. But William Tyndale actually was the one who translated the Bible into English. And a little bit about him, he fled the country, eventually got arrested, and was burned alive, just so we can have the translation of what Jesus taught. So, that hit me. All the people who really lived and that was written about Jesus was killed. And that's all because people, they wanted people to have truth. And then I obviously have respect for these men and women, because they all have died. They would rather die than deny truth. And like I said in the beginning, truth is so relative now. The people that we respect and revere in history are those who had morals and stood for something. Normally for the common and greater good, not individually. So back to this. The question then became, why would the empire and the nation legalize Christianity if they've been killing them for about 300 years? Why would they legalize it? And for what I see is that they couldn't stop it. The truth had too much influence. Fred Hampton said it best. You can kill the revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution. You can kill the revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution. That's exactly what was happening within the life of Jesus. They killed Jesus. He got back up. You killed his martyrs, there were still people willing to speak because of the truth and the transformation of what Jesus was doing in these people's lives. So I consider 313 to be the year from discipleship to distortion. That's where a lot of people can start to see the issues of where the church and the state become one, the indoctrination, what was canonized, all these different things, right? Where people start to waver in their faith. But again, taking a step back from what the manipulation actually was, if you look at it, the people that were persecuting this one thing is now trying to own this thing. And as the church was merging with state, that's, when that new law rose up. That's why there was this big fight for the separation of church and state. There's one law written by man and one law written by God. I don't know if you guys are seeing the wool that was over our eyes, the sleight of hand that's been put in front of us. That's what that was. That's the sleight of hand that they've been doing. And we see it. We just don't know what it is. That's exactly what that was. And Dr. King spoke about this. He said there's two laws of the land. He said the exact same thing, one written by man and one written by a higher authority. And when I look at what's happening now, they're literally renaming history. Look at the Gulf of Mexico. They're trying to take things out of the library of what we can read. It's insane. And even how they're changing names that we can have. King, Prince, Messiah. They're changing BC and AD to BCE and CE. That's huge. At least it was for me. That was always a foundational understanding. If this is how we all view time, before Christ and after death, or I forgot what the Latin term was, but it basically means our Lord is here, to BCE, before Common Era, and Common Era, it's clear. There's distortion that's happening from the truth. It's about identity. And it hits deep, at least for me as a black millennial, right? I grew up in New Jersey, but I grew up here in America. And the only thing that I ever learned about our history is that we came from slavery and civil rights. Nobody ever taught us about priesthood. No one told us who we really are. And they're now even trying to erase that. They're trying to get rid of African American history and studies in these school programs. So if you want to know where I stand with all this, because I've been having conversations that I really do respect these people, and I think they respect me. But sometimes it just feels like in that conversation, there's a gap that we're trying to fill. So for anybody who feels like this is the gap, I want to fill that gap right now. All right. I stand for truth. All right. I need y'all to understand this. I'm not here for the left. I'm not here for the right. I'm here for truth. I mean, even in our Black Power movement, I think we've been asking the wrong questions. One thing that I've thought about for years, I mean, Dr. King fought for civil rights. And we got it. But we still wonder why we're considered and treated as second-class citizens. I mean, legally, we're not equal to them still. If we really want to have the conversation. That's the difference between civil rights and equal rights. But that's not my mission. My mission is obedience. Like I said, I've had that thought for years. But I'm starting to realize that my gift is two things. It's clarity and teaching. And with everything that I've been seeing, I just believe that my energy is better spent giving people tools to be financially free, financially sovereign, financially, independent, as opposed to trying to gain political power. So that's not anything that I'm here to pursue. However, if that spoke to you and politics is your calling, I hope it does still speak. I hope it sparks something. Because Billy Graham said it best. We all have been sold this social contract. It's our roadmap for life. go to school, get a job, retire, die. I mean, we agreed to this and it worked for a while. But what I think we aren't discussing enough is the Social Security Act. Out of all things that we can be talking about, it was originally called the Economic Security Act, and that was the promise. We said, hey, yes, you guys can take money from us, take money out of every single check, and then, yeah, you're going to provide affordable housing, you're going to provide benefits, you're going to provide health care, we're going to provide this wonderful lifestyle. In service, the service that we are getting versus the taxes that have been taken out, it just doesn't equate. And we feel that all over the place. It's not about exposing anymore. It's about, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I mean, they literally told us that Social Security is running out 2033 to 2037. The burden of retirement has been shifted from the government to us. Ask a child what they want to be right now. I guarantee you they're going to say something that's associated with the job. Not a purpose, not a belief, but a job. And that job is what becomes their provider. Think about it. We honor our job more so with our time, our health, our effort. I can't say all of us, but I can speak for those that I know and myself. I would give more energy to my job than I would to God, to my God. Matthew 6:24 clearly says that no man can serve two masters. You cannot serve both God and money. And yet, how many of us have really provided or replaced our provider with our paycheck? I have, especially working in finance. Are you kidding me? That's not even the verse that convicted me, but we're not here about that right now. But this is how the system wins. They have manipulated and almost forced our hand into a broken promise. That's really what I'm seeing. It's a broken promise. But this is why I think what I do is so necessary, because I see the real world impact and I witnessed it firsthand. So there is a guy named Timmy in my homeroom. I wrote about him in my book, but when I found out about these strategies that can literally get you from the law written by man and you can be financially sovereign, financially independent, I gave it to somebody, Timmy. I'm like, hey man, this is going to really help elevate and scale your business. It'll provide, all these benefits, just going in. And he sort of chuckled and he laughed at me and he said, I don't need one of those. I already have one. My parents set one up for me at birth. And I never realized how often I was going to share this story, but that was the first time that I really realized, I was defeated in that moment. I was defeated in that moment because, I thought of a strategy specifically for him that I still think is phenomenal that didn't do that great on social media, but I shared it because I thought it's still a tool that other people could use of how to use your strategy as your own hard money lender. That's much more flexible, but go watch that video. And Timmy says I had one. My parents set one up for me at birth. As I reflect now, I see Timmy was working under a whole different game, whole different rule, whole different game with a whole different set of rules. While I'm out trying to get an education, I also got close to 6 figures of debt getting that education. And Timmy didn't have to worry about a job. Timmy doesn't have to worry about retirement. Well, I was getting about 6 figures of debt. He was gaining 6 figures of equity. You can be the Mandela effect for your family. You can be the one that changed your entire future and the destiny of your family. It's possible. But you have to know the truth. And truth is so difficult to discern. But it's just been moments like this. Because, like I said, he didn't have to think about retirement. Doesn't have to think, like, he got to be who he wanted to be. He was 18 years old going right into real estate investing. He never had to get a paycheck. Are you kidding me? I actually can't imagine that lifestyle, never having to get a paycheck. It's incredible. And out of all the people that I've helped, my favorite, I want to say her name, but I didn't get her permission, but it's a little girl, 6 years old. I knew her mother. We went to high school together. And by the time that 6-year-old is 25, she'll have 6 figures in tax-free liquid assets that she can use. That's only going to grow over time. That she'll never over leverage herself. And that is the power. Imagine at 25 years old if you had 6 figures tax-free that you can use. Would that change some things for you? That's what we're doing. And that's what we can do. But let me wrap this up. The question I really need you to ask yourself, especially if you stayed this long. America, are you living under the law written by man? Or are you living under the law written by the one who created you? If you want help moving out of this broken contract, this broken promise, and you want to move into the other side, and really the two sides are the public sector and the private sector. I can help you move from the public sector to the private sector, and when you're over there, you'll see just how quickly that you can actually grow your money. That's part of the bamboo doctrine that I'm building. So quick fun fact about bamboo, guys. Bamboo can actually take up to 5 years after being planted before ever breaking ground. But bamboo is also considered the fastest growing plant in the world. So once it breaks ground, it can grow up to multiple feet in a day. No other plant can grow that quickly. So that just shows you the power of sacrifice not being suffering, but sacrifice being a strategy. Okay, you have to build this. You do have to enter into the strategy. But there will be a point in time where you will see excessive and massive growth. So that is what we're teaching here. That is what I am called to do. I'm blessed to do. I have a team and a network who support me. And I want to help everybody get that because 2033 to 2037 is right around the corner. That's what I realized. And my parents will be retiring around that time. I had to sharpen my skill. There will be no way in the world that I could live with myself if I wasn't able to help my parents. So I'm sharpening my skill and we're having those conversations. So for everybody else who's out there, if you want to, not be completely exposed, if you want to look at these other systems that we're talking about, if you want to, get access to, if it's not me, like I said, I have a phenomenal network. So I look forward to speaking to all of you, especially if you stayed this long. I appreciate you. We'll be out here doing some more content soon. Take care.